Oh, Jack probably has a take on this. Here we can cast Jack right into the fire.
Oh, boy.
Right into the fire. He's rolling face palm. Put his camera on. Don't put mine on. You missed his face palm. Anyway.
I'll do it again.
There you go. That's what he did when he saw this. This is one of the hot stories going on right now. It's to do with Spotify, Neil Young, and Joe Rogan. And the last time we talked on this show, the state of it was a post went up on Neil Young's website that said it's either me. It's an ultimatum. It was either me or Rogan, right? And you can't have both. Spotify, you cannot have Young and Rogan at the same time. Then the post went down from his website. So people were like, is he reconsidering? Or what about his record label or whatever? But then the following day, Spotify said, been nice knowing you, Neil Young, but hopefully you'll be back on the platform soon. They put out a nice message like that, but his music went down. Now, interestingly, I loaded up Spotify before we started shooting to see if that was the case.
Yeah.
And it's true, but it's kind of down in a weird way. Like all his original recordings and records, you see them listed in search results. You click on them, it says content not available. But some of his songs that were on compilations or used for soundtracks are still there. So who knows how these agreements work? Like what remains of Heart of Gold. This is my Spotify. I don't know if everybody's is going to be the same, which obviously is a huge track. It has, let's see here. It has like 2 billion views or 200 million plays from the Eat, Pray, Love soundtrack. But if you play the song, it's the regular recording. It's just that you can't get it on his record that it was released on.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying here?
Because it's on a different soundtrack. It's like
I guess it's different agreements.
It's owned by a different, I don't know.
But
label.
there's a lot of his hit songs that you can still play on here. So it's
just not directly from his.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so it's kind of interesting the way that worked. He's not.
Which just means that he's not getting royalties for those songs that are still on there.
I guess there were separate deals that were cut on the side, but I think what he was hoping to do is kind of like start a trend that he would be this pioneer and that all these different artists would hop on. He's obviously at the tail end of his career. He's not at his peak popularity, but he actually gets quite a few listens on Spotify and is obviously a legendary artist. But he hasn't really started a snowball effect here when it comes to the type of artist you would need to apply pressure in this type of situation to have some leverage. You would need, I don't know, some Taylor Swift or Drake or
but
whatever.
They're making tons of dough off of their Spotify, I'm sure.
A lot more than him.
And the thing is that this is like passive income for them. Like they don't have to do anything. They sit around and they get a check every month. It would be different if like they were protesting through a concert and they had to go and maybe not go to one show or something like that. But this is just something that they're getting every month. I would imagine it's harder for them to turn away from or to, stand up against.
Well, and something else that I read this morning was that Spotify, when it comes to certain artists and certain agreements, actually loses money on streaming.
Yeah.
Particularly with him. Every time you would stream one of his songs, they would actually lose a little bit of money, but they would hope to gain a subscriber and make it back. However, when it comes to podcasting, they're making a boatload. Apparently, this is what I read on, I think it was the Verge article, but apparently to get a deal on Rogan's show, minimum $1 million spend. Minimum.
Wow.
And they've got some kind of... This is again in the Verge's article. It's an unnamed source, but apparently, if you want to advertise anywhere else on Spotify, you have to partially have a deal that partially, other way around. If you want to sponsor Rogan's show, you have to sponsor other stuff on Spotify as well. So it's like spreading it around because there's lots of demand for this one show, and everybody's kind of a roundabout way benefiting from it under the advertising model, not just the streaming model. But anyway, that's just breaking down what's gone on. But let's put you on the spot here, and since you're sitting here, I don't know if you're okay with it.
Well, I'm just gonna say, I'm a huge fan of Neil Young, as you know, and I know a lot about him, and I know that he had polio as a kid, and I think that is what makes him extra kind of, have an emotional connection towards vaccines because
he's also really old. He's about 76 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, he got it before he had an opportunity to get the vaccine for it. Like so he knows what would have potentially changed in his life if he had opportunity to have the vaccine. Because he was saying recently that he still suffers some effects from polio. Sometimes he feels like the left side of his body is he doesn't know where it is in space and time as much and stuff like that. So it's definitely affected him his whole life. And I just think what he's seeing on Rogan and how people are really speaking against vaccines, I think he's taking it personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's obviously emotional. Mm-hmm. There's an emotional element to it. But do you think he made the right call to remove his music? Or like, is that really going to change anything?
No, but I think he's still,
because now this is just people not listening that could have been introduced to his music on Spotify. Like, I don't think it's going to apply the pressure that he thinks it will.
I don't know if he's looking for that and looking for a bunch of people to follow suit. I honestly think he's just making a stand and like he's just like, this is what matters to me and I'm going to do it, and regardless of what everyone else thinks. Yeah. And at least does start the conversation about it, make people think like, hey, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the big concepts here is around the idea of the platform versus the personality versus the personality and then the guest that the personality hosted. Like, you're having this tiered situation where people want to hold the platform accountable for the host, or people want to hold the host accountable for the guest. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, if Rogan has a guest on who says whatever they may say, whatever their opinion happens to be, which might not be in line with someone else's, then that group they do go after the guest to a certain extent, but they prefer to go after Rogan. And then the next phase is to just go after Spotify. But the question is, to what extent is Spotify even on the hook for something a guest on their most popular show says?
Yeah. But I think also Neil's pointing out Rogan's hesitancy towards vaccines. Not only his guests, but you know, he was active in letting everyone know, like, you shouldn't get it, and if you're young and youthful and in shape.
I believe that he's kind of in the middle of that. I don't think he said you shouldn't get it. I'm not certain what the actual
I do remember one specific
was.
Quote where he was like, if somebody was to ask me if you should get it and you're healthy and you exercise and stuff, I would say no. But I don't know. That was a long time ago. That was in the beginning. I don't know now, but yeah. So
even if that is somebody's point of view, is that not? Should they be able to have their own point of view on that?
That's true, right? You can't get mad at him for that point of view. I guess what Neil Young is mad about is that he's bringing people on that are actively trying to discredit the science behind it.
Now, what if he brought people on who were the alternative opinion? Like, I think he also had Sanjay Gupta came on from CNN. Maybe he could have Fauci on. That would probably be a huge episode if he could. Those people might not be willing to go on.
Yeah.
I don't think he would turn them down if they were willing to go on.
No, I don't think he would. But I think that it's true, but you do see a trend in who is on his show and who's not. There's definitely more people that are kind of in the same camp as him.
Well, I think it makes sense because you have there's a comfort level there, and there's probably, well, in the case of the guy who made the most waves, Malone, he was banned from Twitter prior to going on. So there's actually a lack of, Fauci has no lack of places that he's going to be talking on, right? Some of those episodes were so big because these people were already controversial or were already, if somebody gets banned from some place, in some cases it actually brings more interest and attention to the thing.
For sure.
And then people get more excited about it. I've been amazed at how much attention Rogan has gotten after leaving YouTube and iTunes and whatever, and being exclusive to Spotify. It doesn't seem to matter. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a weird spot for Young to put himself in. I don't really know, but I presume he's happy with it. I presume the record label. That was the other the other component, that maybe there was some record label pressure. That's in some way, record labels are feeling as though leverage at Spotify is changing the more that the podcasting medium becomes the moneymaker and not the music streams.
Right.
And that there could be opportunities to renegotiate if enough artists sort of had an issue with some of their high-profile podcasting talent.
Mm-hmm.
And then also there's a conversation around just how important music is to Spotify versus podcasting. And then if you were to poll their customer base, which component is the more important one? Like, obviously, there's been historic deals with Howard Stern on
Serious.
And it seemed to be maybe even more important than the music.
For sure. 100%. Yeah.
And so is the same thing happening on Spotify?
Yeah.
Where the music is kind of there, it's available, it's in the background though, and the personalities that are on the talk side are actually what are driving subscriptions. And that's the bet Spotify made.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't surprised when they did that. And they were saying, thanks, but no thanks, Neil Young. Like, see you later.
Yeah. Quickly too.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just too bad. It's sad. I just feel like the whole thing's just sad. Like, Neil Young is just he's got such great music, and it's just, it's sad.
Yeah, it means a lot to. I actually, when I went back and looked it up, I realized so many tracks I haven't listened to in so long. So maybe it's actually a boost for his career.
That's what I was thinking. And diehard Neil Young fans might be like, you know what? If I can't get it on Spotify, I'm going to go and actively purchase his music elsewhere.
Or stream it. Yeah.
Or stream it or whatever.
You can still get it on YouTube Music or
anywhere, iTunes.
Yeah, iTunes. Yeah.
Like I would bet that he would get a bump elsewhere right now.
Yeah. Or depending on where people stand, maybe the opposite. Maybe they'll delete all his music. Or unfortunately, like that's the way it is.
Yeah, probably.
Some people will be like, screw Neil Young. See you later. But it's never that black and white. It's really not. It's a gradient to it, and everybody's trying to exist. But yeah. I that's the experience I had. I went back to Spotify. I'm like, oh yeah, man. I haven't heard Cowgirl in the Sand in a long time.
Great tune.
I haven't heard it in a long time.
Unbelievable song.
And I was like, wow, yeah.
Everyone go listen to Cowgirl in the Sand.
I've been listening to that stuff for a long time, man. Pioneer, legend.